Hey everyone, this is Finding Value. I want to touch on something, and this is a long-term kind of outlook or looking out 20, 30, 40 years from now. And we can jump right into it. And I'll kind of touch on it. So why precious metals and why now? Not only is precious metals in cycle, there's certain long-term things that are going to affect precious metals. And I'm going to touch real quick on all that. So we have declining energy return on energy invested of oil. Mining is very energy intensive. And when energy becomes scarce in terms of oil, it's going to drive the mining costs higher. So it's going to drive the metals higher because you're going to get more scarcity as if prices were to remain the same, supply would be cut as the mining costs go up. So prices have to go up to incentivize people to look for more minerals in the ground. At the same time, we have energy return on energy invested, which means you're expending more energy to get energy, less to do work with in society. You also have declining ore grades of the minerals that you're getting and extracting out of the earth. So over time, looking 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road, your ore grades are declining and it's getting much more difficult to extract the mineral out of the ground. So you've got declining energy going down. At the same time, you've got the ore grades going down. If you own the physical metal, it is a way that you're basically buying that stored energy and those grades, not grades, but those metals that you have, and they will become more valuable because they're going to be exponentially harder to get. So it's good to have the physical metal, and especially precious metal. Because if you have precious metals, you have monetary protection. They were used as monetary means in the past. And I would include platinum as a monetary metal. It just wasn't used in history because they had no way of, one, extracting it out of the ground very easily, and two, they couldn't melt it. They couldn't do anything with it because it was such a high melting point precious metal. And if you look at the green society, you look at everything that we're using in the future, we have increased industrial uses of these precious metals. And silver is one that has a bunch of uses. And it's not as plentiful as I think most people think it is. We don't have that much above ground silver that we can just draw from. Inventories have been drawn down quite a bit over the years. So silver, I think, has a very bright future to hold on to if you look 20, 30, 40 years ahead of us. You also have a population that's increasing. The population is going to have less and less precious metals per capita. So if currencies and everything else go to zero, which they have in the past at a 100% failure rate, the population who does have money and create wealth is going to go to the things that preserve wealth, which is real estate, art, and precious metals. Those are the only three things that have preserved wealth over a very long time period. Also, we have to look at our other options. So our other options of holding the S&P 500 is one option. I went through a scenario and showed that the S&P 500, if you have an inflation rate at 5%, with the S&P 500 returning 10%, you pay after taxes, it nets you 0.5% in today's dollars of purchasing power gains, which is literally nothing. Plus, they are overvalued and overpriced at this moment. They're out of cycle. Bonds, same thing. And most of paper assets, I don't think they're going to get you to where you want to be 10, 20, 30 years from now. You also have to look at the declining dollar. They are printing this thing into oblivion. It's already declined 97, 98% over the time period. It's going to continue to decline. There's no reason to store any wealth in dollars. Real estate, I think, is a good option. Art is a good option. And commodities are going to be coming in cycle, and I think they're a good option. And collector cars and all this other stuff, Perhaps they're good. I have a car that's gone up a lot in value. I have an RX-7. But sometimes they don't necessarily make the purchasing power gains that like an investment really would. So collector cars, sometimes you can make it, sometimes you're not. It's just a little more difficult. And you got to know quite a bit about that sector. So constructing a portfolio of precious metals is extremely easy. It's extremely low risk. And the returns are there when you swap your metals back and forth using ratios. Nailing the exact top, nailing the exact bottom, I don't think anyone can do that. You scale in, you scale out when precious metals are showing that they are becoming either expensive or cheap, you scale in and out. Right now, platinum's the one to buy. It is cheap against silver, it's cheap against gold, and it's cheap against palladium. That's the one I'm picking up, that's the one I'm buying, and I will hold it until it becomes expensive to the other commodities. In the back of my head though, I have been thinking these things will get more valuable with time, and silver could be an outlier. The reason I say that is, if silver is used in industrial purposes and there isn't much above ground, when there is a problem, not if, but when, and I don't know when that is, sometime between now and 40 years from now, the alternative is gold, which means that eventually silver could become as expensive as gold because gold's the only alternative for certain applications. Perhaps it'll go to a 1-to-1 ratio. Perhaps not. I don't know. But with everything becoming more scarce in the future, I think precious metals are an easy way to protect wealth and to grow wealth in your portfolio. This is Finding Value. Click subscribe and leave comments. Thank you.